Joe Arady, an innocent man with an IQ of 46, gifted his beloved toy train to a fellow inmate before facing the gas chamber. Despite clear evidence of his innocence, he became a tragic victim of wrongful conviction, highlighting the harrowing flaws in the justice system. Throughout the USS Triton's secret mission to circumnavigate the world submerged, the only unauthorized individual to spot the submarine during those 60 days was a Filipino man on his canoe who noticed its periscope on April 1st, 1960. This is a picture of Freddie Mercury and Mary Austin in 1984. Freddie said to Mary in his will, "If things had been different, you would have been my wife, and this would have been yours anyway." In 1971, John List calmly posed his family for a portrait before brutally murdering his wife, mother, and 3 children. He then disappeared, evading capture for 18 years until his arrest in 1989, leaving behind a chilling legacy of domestic terror and unspeakable tragedy. In 1991, a young boy stood before the fallen statue of Lenin in Ethiopia. This symbolic moment marked the collapse of communism in the country, but also foreshadowed the turmoil and uncertainty that would follow in the wake of political upheaval. Myrtle Corbin, known as the Four-Legged Woman, was born in 1868 with dipygus, a rare condition resulting in 2 separate pelvises and 4 legs. She toured with sideshows and circuses, captivating audiences with her unique anatomy. Despite the curiosity surrounding her, her life likely held challenges and prejudices, making her story both fascinating and unsettling in its reflection of society's fascination with the unusual and different. Annie Edson Taylor, seeking fame and fortune, became the first person to survive going over Niagara Falls in a barrel in 1901. Despite her success, she faced financial struggles, and her stunt didn't bring the wealth she hoped for. The attempt highlighted the dangers of the falls, yet it sparked a trend of daredevil stunts, many of which ended in tragedy, revealing the chilling allure of risking life for fleeting fame. In April 1999, during the NATO bombing in Belgrade, a firefighter gazes at the heavily damaged tallest building. The haunting image captures the devastation and horror of war, highlighting the bravery and resilience of those who risk their lives in the face of destruction. In 2003, a 2-seater sports plane was shot down by mistake when it flew over a Serbian wedding party where guests were firing guns into the air. The 2 men in the aircraft suffered serious injuries when it burst into flames and crashed near Kraljevo, central Serbia. Local media said neither of the men held a pilot's license. Zip the Pinhead, born William Henry Johnson in 1842, was exhibited in sideshows due to microcephaly, a condition causing a small, pointed skull. Exploited for his appearance, he endured a life of spectacle, facing ridicule and exploitation. His story reflects society's dark fascination with the abnormal, highlighting the exploitation of individuals for entertainment, a chilling reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was based on the real-life serial killer Ed Gein. After he was caught, various pieces of furniture and clothing made out of body parts were found in Ed's house. These are a pair of dice which he made out of human bone. In 2016, a wanted criminal called Donald Chip Pugh sent the police a selfie after he saw his mugshot on the news and didn't like how he looked in the picture. In April 2023, 82-year-old Shivdayal Sharma was urinating near a railway track when a stray cow wandered onto the track. At that moment, a train collided with the cow at a speed of almost 100 miles per hour. The collision was so intense that it propelled the cow 30 meters into the air. A portion of the cow's body was propelled towards Sharma, who stood nearby. The impact was so severe that it resulted in Sharma's immediate death. In 2017, Reza Aslan visited a cannibalistic Hindu group as part of a TV show. The group gave him human brain to eat, covered his face with cremated remains, and made him wear headgear decorated with human teeth. One of the members of the group even threatened to cut off his head. Aslan later posted on social media saying, "Want to know what a dead guy's brain tastes like? Charcoal. It was burnt to a crisp." This crazy footage from 1953 shows U.S. Navy cameraman Thomas Lee McGraw Jr. filming his final moments alive on the aircraft carrier Oriskany. Towards the end of the clip, the impact of the landing ejects a bomb from a jet. The bomb exploded and sadly killed Thomas Lee McGraw Jr. Bud Dwyer, a Pennsylvania politician, held a press conference on January 22, 1987, where he faced charges of corruption. Moments before taking his own life on live television, he calmly addressed the crowd, handed out envelopes, then abruptly pulled out a gun and fatally shot himself. The shocking act left viewers traumatized and raised questions about media ethics and mental health awareness. This is a photograph of French serial killer Charles the Serpent Sobrage on a flight home in 2022 after being released from a jail in Nepal. Sobrage is believed to have murdered at least 20 tourists in South and Southeast Asia, with 14 of the victims in Thailand alone. He served a prison sentence in India from 1976 to 1997 before returning to France upon release. In 2003, Sobrage traveled to Nepal, where he was arrested, tried, and ultimately sentenced to life imprisonment. On December 21, 2022, the Supreme Court of Nepal ordered his release from prison due to his advanced age after he had served 19 years of his sentence. A man dubbed the Folded Man has had life-changing surgery after spending years hunched over. Li Hua from China lived with the autoimmune disease ankylosing spondylitis for nearly 30 years. He first started experiencing symptoms of the rare arthritis at the age of 19 and was unable to stand up straight, eat or walk properly for more than 25 years. But thanks to the surgery, he is now able to move around and live a more normal life. He said, "Foot binding, a practice in ancient China, was terrifyingly common for centuries. Young girls had their feet tightly bound to inhibit growth, causing excruciating pain, deformities, and lifelong disabilities. It symbolized beauty standards, but resulted in permanent physical and psychological trauma, haunting generations." Bill Bigart's last photo captured the harrowing chaos of 9/11 minutes before he perished under the collapsing South Tower. His lens immortalized the terror and heroism of that day, a haunting reminder of the risks journalists face to bear witness to history. This picture shows magician Joe Burris being lowered to a grave in a casket as he prepared to perform a stunt. Unfortunately, Burris passed away after the casket collapsed under the weight of the concrete poured on top of it. Nara Dreamland, inspired by Disneyland, opened in 1961 in Japan but closed in 2006 due to declining visitors and competition. Left to decay, it became a haunting site for urban explorers, adorned with rusting roller coasters, crumbling structures, and overgrown vegetation. Its eerie ambiance attracts photographers and adventurers seeking to capture its post-apocalyptic charm, reminiscent of a forgotten dreamland frozen in time. Jack the Ripper was an unidentified serial killer in 1888 who existed in London. He brutally murdered at least 5 women, mutilating their bodies. Despite intense investigations, his identity remains a mystery, adding an unsettling layer of horror to his gruesome crimes. Clifford Olson, a Canadian serial killer, confessed to the brutal murders of 11 children and teens between 1980 and 1981. He lured his victims with promises of work, then tortured and strangled them. Olson showed no remorse, negotiating with authorities for money in exchange for revealing the locations of his victims' bodies, adding a chilling dimension to his heinous crimes.